How's everybody? Good. I'm so glad, first of all, that you have decided to choose education as your career choice. I want you to know from today that there's no other profession that is more befitting than this of education. We are the foundation to everything that exists, and so because of that, professionalism is an absolute must. Here's the very first thing that I want to tell you is that stay with education and do all that you can while you can and benefit those children that you go to see every single day. Okay? First, so a little bit about myself. My name is Holman. This is year 17 for me in education. Through my tenure, I have taught first grade, I've taught fifth grade, I've taught sixth grade. I have been an elementary principal, a middle school principal, a middle school assistant principal. I've taught here at MTSU, as well as Johns Junior College, and then I did 1 year at the central office back in my hometown, working with at-risk children. And so, with all of the things that I have done, nothing is more pleasing to me than getting into a classroom and working with children, simply because I love it. So I make it a point as a middle school principal, not just to be the principal, that's just my title. My role is that of an instructional leader. So it's always appropriate for me to go into a classroom and teach and model lessons for my teachers, particularly in the event they would like for me to come, or whether they don't like me to come. I just need to go in there and give them some assistance. I don't mind doing that because I want to make sure that our children get the best education possible. All right? So having said all of that, now I'm going to try to be kind of calm. The preacher in me will come out. So if I get to the point and feel like I'm preaching, it's okay to give me an amen if you want to. And we'll move right on. I love to have a good time. I love to have a good time, even though we are in a profession that many people feel like we have to be so stiff. You don't have to be. I never shall forget when I first took my students when I was a teacher and went on a field trip, and I wore blue jeans. And we were going to D.C., so it was during spring break. And so with that, they thought, Mr. Holman, do you have blue jeans? They could not believe it. I said, believe it or not, I am human. And so the things that you do, I can do as well. But they always saw me in suits and ties. And so when I came out of that, they were like, this is not the Mr. Holman that I know. So let me start there. As an educator, and I welcome you to the field of education. You are no longer, in my eye, you're no longer a student, you're an educator. You're more than just a teacher. An educator is more than a teacher. And so with that, you have to understand how important it is to be professional. Now, so with our profession, here's the way that I view it. We are licensed in the state of Tennessee, just like a doctor and a lawyer. We have a license to practice in the state of Tennessee. And so because you have a license to practice, that says that you have met all the criteria that is needed in order to go in and teach someone's child. How many of you have children? 1, 2. So here's the piece that I always use. When I teach, ask yourself this: am I providing instruction the way that I would expect my own child to receive it? So you have to go in every single day and give it your absolute best. So let's start with our professionalism. First of all, it's going to start with your attitude. You are going to encounter some very pleasant teachers, and you're going to encounter some that you wish would simply just go to the house. That's the realization. And so one thing that I love to do, particularly with this Residency 1 class and Residency 2 class, when they come to my building, I make it a point to sit down with them and talk to them. And my philosophy is this: I give my teachers the cupcake without the sprinkles or the icing. I don't sugarcoat a single thing. So you're going to get it in its rare form. Because I want them to be prepared to what you're about to walk into. You're going to have teachers who are going to be very supportive of the administrative team and the vision and the mission of the school. But then you're going to also have those individuals who are not going to be. Where you then come into play is, how am I then going to respond when I'm approached positively or negatively? You have to know who you are and what you stand for and what you believe. Regardless to what goes on in education, there's not one individual that can convince me that this is the field that I should not be in. I don't care how many mandates come forward. Here's what I tell my teachers. No one put a gun to your head and said, you better go to school and be a teacher or an educator. You made that decision. And so because you're making that decision, here's what I'm going to tell you. Be grown and handle what is expected of you. Okay? Now, so with that, our attitude says everything. Where do you stand in your attitude? How many of you often do an attitude check? Be honest. All right. Here's the thing. I would highly suggest that you do an attitude check every now and then, because if not, you're going to have a student who's going to try to give you one, or you're going to have a colleague right beside you who's going to try to give you one. And the best part of it all is you're going to most definitely have a parent who's going to come in and try to give you an attitude check. They're going to try you at everything, at every cost. But you have to remind yourself this. This is the thing I tell my teachers. Please post your degrees in your room. When you're having a bad day, or the day that's not going the way that you would expect it to go, turn around, look at your degrees, and ask yourself this question. Am I going to allow, and this is, as I used to tell my kids when I taught 5th grade, Holmanology 101. Am I going to allow any noun, person, place, thing, or idea to disrupt the climate of my day? Am I going to allow a noun, person, place, or thing to disrupt the climate of my day? You've made a conscious decision to go to class, to take exams, to complete projects, to do practicums, to go into a room and allow a 10, 11, 5, 4, 3, I don't know, 15-year-old to rob you of what you worked hard for? Really? So I say that to say this. Your work has to be work that you believe in. It has to be work that you're willing to put forth the extra effort, because you're entering into a profession that is very competitive. Particularly if you choose to stay here in Rutherford County. Each year we have a job fair. There are about 700 people that always show up, 700 to 800 people. And they're coming from many, many different states. And then local. We as the principals are trying to fill for the county probably right at about 150 positions for 800 people who come seeking for them. What is it about you that's going to stand out, that's going to want me as an administrator to bring you aboard? What is it about you that's going to cause you to stand out? Your attitude has got to be one that is very noticeable. Watch this. We need individuals who are very positive. I look for individuals who are extremely positive, because here's the mantra at Laverne Middle School. Ms. Maddox has heard this, Mr. Goodman has heard this, and Dr. Dillard has heard this. We have no such thing at Laverne Middle School as problems, Ms. Harris. We don't have problems. Here's what we do have. We have a whole lot of opportunities. Now, isn't that a positive spin? Don't look at things as a problem. Look at it as an opportunity. So, you're going to look, Johnny's going to be an opportunity. I'm just going to tell you that. Okay? You're not going to walk into a classroom and everything when you get there is going to work. I did an evaluation last week and the teacher was just frazzled. Why? Because on my way to her room, her LCD projector goes out. So in her post, you know what I asked her? What did we do before technology? Get in there and give me good, solid teaching. So I'm looking for, principals are looking for, but let me just speak for me, the most positive individuals that I can find. Because I need a house. We have a family at Laverne Middle School, so I need individuals who can get into the family and be a part of the family. When we hire someone in, you are not a new teacher, you're a new family member at Laverne Middle School. What I enjoy about this class is, and I take it for selfish reasons. One, I love education. Two, this gives me an opportunity to look at possible teachers. How many of you were science people? Raise your hand again. Can I just tell you something just for a moment? Keep your hand up. I like to get comfortable. Y'all okay with that? All right. I just had a teacher resign last week. Guess what position? Science. And I need a science teacher like yesterday. Okay? I need a science teacher like yesterday. So we're looking for that pool of individuals that stand out above everybody else. Have some personality. I don't need you to be dry. Okay? I don't. Because I love to have a good time, but trust me, if I need to get the job done, it will get done. That's just the type of ship that I run. Okay? So I'm looking for individuals who are positive. Positive why? You're going to deal with children, regardless of all these classes that you've taken in college. You're going to deal with children who's going to come in your classroom. What's your name?
Brittany.
Brittany. So Brittany, you're going to have little Sally sitting in your class. And little Sally may be going home not knowing whether or not she's going to have a home when she gets there. What's your name?
Eric.
Eric. Eric, you go to class, you're ready to teach. Here's what happens. Carrie's in your class, and I just found out that my father died. And you've got to be the one to tell him. Your mind has to be so well versed that you can handle those types of things. Okay? A good teacher will cover curriculum, but a great teacher will uncover it. So our attitudes have got to be so open and willing to make an impact on kids. Today's your first day to enter into this class. All right? And so because of that, you've got to make a conscious decision. Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? There's nothing else I would want to do. Nothing. So you've got to make that conscious decision. So I'm looking to see, are you ready to get in there? Are you positive? Are you jovial? Can I sit and talk to you and it be okay? That's the first thing. Next thing that's often hard for new teachers particularly is your dress. Now, I did my associate's degree at Montville State Community College. I did my BS at UT Chattanooga. Did my master's at TSU. Did my EDS here at MTSU. We were drilled at UT Chat. Who? At UT Chat that we are professionals and that your dress should exemplify that. So I've always done suits and ties. I trade off now. 1 week I may do sweaters and slacks, but then I do suits and ties the other time. We're licensed just like anyone else, the lawyers and the doctors. But can I tell you something, just being honest and real? We as a profession have given our own profession a bad name. Because we want to go to work looking any kind of way, but yet we want the respect of every child, every teacher, and every parent. But we come looking like we just rolled out of bed. So on your dress, you have to think about this. You're going into a profession whereby children need good examples. Not only good examples, but great examples. Okay? And I have interviewed individuals who have walked in, and I shared this with my Residency 1 group and Residency 2 group, who have walked in interviews and they have not taken the time to iron not one item. I've had them come in interviews and they're sitting in an interview with their sunglasses on the top of their head. I've had them come in interviews and they're chewing gum. When you are applying for a position, here's what I need you to understand, particularly in Rutherford County. There are 70 to 100 more people trying to get the same position that you're trying to get. So at the end of the interview process, I then have got to sit down and figure out what is it that stood out with you that didn't stand out with you. And it sometimes can come down to they were both great on content. They were both great on building relationships with my children, because they're not my students, they're my kids. That's where I see them. They're mine. And I tell them that. All right? And so, then if the last thing was dress, that could set you apart. All right? So attitude and dress on professionalism. Then here's a huge one. Confidentiality. Through your practicum experience, your observation experience, your residency experience, and then once you get to student teaching, you're going to encounter a great deal of confidentiality. That what goes on at school stays at school. Okay? What goes on in school stays at school. And here's why we say that. We cannot control your mouth outside of school. But rest assured, society can. You never know if you're sitting at a restaurant speaking of a child or a teacher, if the person sitting across from you or behind you has some type of relationship with an individual at that particular school. We as educators, let me say this, we as educators are under a microscope like no one else. Because here's what you're going to find. How often do you turn on the news and you find where they're giving recognition to the teacher who has done an exemplary amount of work? Rarely ever. But you let one do the smallest thing. Okay? Wrong is wrong. Okay? But that's the thing that's going to get on the news. Not because you just got Teacher of the Year, but because you accidentally let a bad word slip out of your mouth and it was videotaped in your class. Here's what we have to understand now. The days of education have very much changed from the time that I was being taught and even the time that I taught. My first graders didn't come to school with phones. Okay? My fifth graders didn't come to school with phones, nor did my sixth graders. But children now bring your own technology. That's the newest wave. And that technology can be everything from here to your cell phone. And what does the cell phone have on it? Camera. What else does it have on it? A recorder. So when you're in a class, let's go back to your attitude. Don't say anything in a class to a child that you wouldn't say to that child sitting in front of his or her mother. Now, that sounds simple. But teachers, educators, let me tell you something. People are being dismissed because of those types of things. And when it comes time at the end of the year for renews and non-renews, we as principals, I know Ms. Harris has been the principal, anyone else been the principal? And Ms. Mack has been the principal. At the end of the year, when it's time to do renews and non-renews, hey, I appreciate your service, but your contract has been non-renewed. I appreciate your service, but your contract has been non-renewed. That's the only discussion you're going to get. So, you're in a field whereby the market is very competitive. So I ask you today, what is it about you that stands out, that causes you to stand out above all the other applicants? That's the question I would ask in an interview. Why do I want you? What do you currently know about our academic status? Don't come to my interview and you haven't taken time to review my website or the data at the state level for my school. Because if you want to be in a place, make sure you're knowledgeable of that place. Is that helpful? Okay. So attitude, appearance, confidentiality are huge and professionalism. If you don't get anything else, get this. I take this very serious. That's how much I love education. When I think about my license that I have, I know personally what I had to endure to get that license. So my daily reflection in my school, to my teachers, to my children, is, am I going to allow any noun, person, place, or thing to disrupt the climate of my day? As educators, you're going to have some great days. Some awesome days. You're going to love it. You're going to get in there and it's woo-hoo, hey, hey, ha-ha. But then you're going to have days that you're going to want to leave out of there ready to strangle that person down on the corner on your wing because he or she has said something that you simply did not like. You're going to have parents come into your meetings and tell you all about you, and they don't know you. They're going to belittle you. They're going to even, let me surprise you, they're even going to say some bad words to you. Real bad words. We're all grown. They're going to cuss you out. When I get cussed, I smile. And I tell them, that's your opinion. And you have every right to your opinion. That kills them. Can I give you a secret? Don't ever let anyone know what gets to you. Because once you do, they've got you.
That's an amen.
Kids, teachers, or parents. This is year 17 for me, and it seems like day one. Because I only deal with one day at a time. Do I have a whole lot of things on my desk awaiting for me? Yes. But they're going to be there tomorrow when I get there. If the Lord so see it fit for me to return tomorrow. But when I leave school, I'm going to tell you like my superintendent told me. Remember that you have a life. There's life outside of school. But this is my last point. Because you have life outside of school, your social media can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. So I have asked this question in interviews before. I'll go through all of my questions. And once I'm finished hearing all the great things you told me, how wonderful you are, this nice portfolio you bring in there with all the good pictures and all the great lessons. Has anybody ever put any bad lesson in the portfolio? Anybody put in there in the letter that where you got cussed out by the kid? No. We make it so nice and pretty, right? So here's what I asked you at the very end of my interview. Everything that you told me today, if I were to visit your social media page, would it be a reflection of what I've heard and seen today? As young men, you go into your interviews, you sit straight up. You give that person eye contact. Always think about the question before you respond. If you don't know, please be honest. The worst thing you can do is make up an answer. Young ladies, when you come into an interview, you're coming for an interview and not for a show. Did you read between the lines? I'm serious. Because here's the thing. Those types of things are getting people dismissed. Because I will tell you, how many, all of you middle school or high school, do you not know they're very curious minds? And they will try you at anything. Hey, please take a picture with me real fast and then crop your picture. It happens. But guess what? You're still in the most noble profession. There's no other profession like us. I'm the best thing that ever walked because I'm an educator. That's the way you got to believe. Doctors have nothing on me. I taught the doctor. Ever look at it from that angle? You're not just a teacher. So when someone says, you're a teacher, you're just a teacher, correct them real fast. I'm your foundation. See how you can look at that? Questions that you might have. Did I hit everything? Please clean up your social media pages. There are people out there, I'll give you a true story. This could have been a parent. It could have been someone who bought a school t-shirt. There was someone at a bar, sitting at the bar, with a Laverne t-shirt on. Man, it could have been a parent. Okay? I'm not going to tell you who it was, if it was a parent or if it was a teacher. But it came to my email and said, hold it. Does this person belong to you? And sure enough, now, here's the thing. If you're going to go out and be social, at least change your attire. Then you would think that's common sense. But guess what? Common sense is not common anymore. Because you would think a person would come to school dressed appropriately, right? Common sense, but it's not common anymore. Okay? So please, your Facebook page, your friends on Facebook, watch that, because that could be the separation of you getting a job or not. Because we're looking for the best applicants. I need individuals who are going to come and love my children as much as I do. And I love them all. Okay? Because you know what I know? I deal with middle school kids. They're 10, 11, 12, 13, some 14, 15, 16. If they've gotten tenure there. You know? So here's the thing. Here's what I remember. They're kids. So I don't let kids rattle me. Miss Holman, I don't like you. Okay. You ugly. Okay. That doesn't get to me. Nor do parents get to me. Okay? So keep those things in mind and listen. Go out there and make a difference. Be the best educated that you can be, to the extent that the person teaching next to you is almost jealous of all the things that you do. Because we need good, solid educators who are going to stick to it and stay. I hired one. She lasted 1 month. True story. Kid said a bad word to her. So I ask you this. Can you handle someone saying some bad things to you? Can you accept constructive criticism when your professor or when your principal or your colleague tells you, hey, you might want to look at this at a different angle? Can you accept that, or are you going to be offended? But I really like to be very open and honest with people, because we are investing in the lives of children, and everything that we do is going to impact how they're going to listen. You may be the best face, the smile, the only smile that child gets.
Amen.
You may be the only hug that they get. They'll tell you, people will tell you this. They'll tell you this all the time. Don't touch kids. Don't you hug them. The day that they send me to the house for patting them on the back, I'll at least go home with dignity, saying I did my job. Because I'm going to touch mine every single day. Boy, girl, big or tall, black or white, I'm going to touch them. Because I love them. And guess what I do? I tell them that I love them. Okay? That's the kind of educator you got to be. I had a 6th grade student, I'm going to my seat. I had a 6th grade student that I taught. And she always told me, Mr. Holman, when I grow up and I get married, I want you to perform my wedding. As a preacher, life's a preacher, okay, I can do that. Lo and behold, I did. And she became a teacher as well. So several of my students have become teachers, and I surprised them during their spring break, and I went home, Miss Harris, and I walked into their classroom, because we were on different spring break. I walked into their classroom to see them teaching. It was such a joy. That's the impact that you make. Here's how you know you're impacting children. If they see you in the store, are they running toward you or away from you? Okay? And my wife will tell you, she says, honey, you don't remember them. She says, because I call them little buddy and my precious. Because look how many kids you impact. I'm not going to remember all their names. I remember faces. I'm not going to remember their names. But we're going to carry on a conversation like I just saw you yesterday. Went through the drive-thru at a restaurant. The kid said, Miss Holman, is that you? I said, lo and behold. Yes, it is. You were my principal, yada, yada, yada. Hey, that's the other reason why you want to make sure that you're positive and build relationships with kids. They may have to take care of you one day. They're fixing your food back there. They're washing your silverware back there. All right, so keep those things in mind. Enjoy it. Enjoy every day. Enjoy every day. And take it one day at a time. Don't try to, you'll be overwhelmed. I could throw some things out at you right now to cause you to run out that door. Say, forget this, I'm out. And I wouldn't dare do this to you. Okay? Questions?
Don't be shy.
Because I will be very straightforward with you. Yes, ma'am?
What kind of advice could you give for us not taking parent attacks personally?
That is a great question. That is a great question. Here's the thing. Whether it be parent, child, or teacher, you cannot wear it. You have to let it go. Think about it from this angle. If people want to find something good, tell me your name?
Kendra.
Catherine. If people want to find something good about Catherine,
No, Kendra.
Kendra, excuse me, Kendra. 43 may be getting to me. If people want to find something good about Kendra, they could find it. But they wanted to find something negative about you, they could. But you know what? At the end of the day, are they worth you carrying that all day long? Because when they walk away, trust me, they're gonna do them. They're gonna be them. So you can't let it get to you. Okay? I mean, I was cussed real good from the office to the parking lot. And I was called everything you could imagine. And I smiled the entire way. Because it doesn't bother me. I have a job that I have to do. That's to love kids, provide safety, and a quality education. And I'm going to do it. Okay? And everybody's not going to agree with you. And that is absolutely okay. That is absolutely okay. You take those that do and move on. Miss Holmes, you mean people don't like you? Absolutely can't stand me. So, get a t-shirt that says so on the front and the word and on the back. Depending on what they say. So, and. You have to be that way. I kid you not. Okay? You do.
Wouldn't you say it's because you're so grounded in what your true north is and your purpose and your mission?
Yes.
That's where you find your center, and everything else doesn't matter
That's
if
right.
you're in that place.
I know without a shadow of doubt, this is what I have been called to do. This is what I am purposed to do. I absolutely love kids. And I love teaching. I'll get in there, I'll kick off my shoes, throw this jacket off, and get with it. I love them. I just do. So because I love kids so much, and my teachers so much, when things don't go the way that they ought to go, or people don't like what I've said, I'm okay with that. I'm good. I really am. I believe this or not, and this is being videotaped, and I say this all the time. I live a stress-free life. I let absolutely nothing get to me. Nothing. What can I do about yesterday? What can I do about tomorrow?
Nothing.
So what only do I have today? What else?
Great advice.
What else? No other questions? Really? Come on. When am I gonna get my first paycheck? You know, those types of things. There's not a lot, I mean, yes.
Do you recommend, when you're going out to get a job, to try and stay in one county, or to like be diverse and like try and get a job in like multiple counties
What is your purpose in life?
to teach?
To teach. End of discussion.
Okay.
I've never had a desire to be at just one particular location. I've taught everything from inner city poverty to the elite. Guess what? Kids are kids. And kids are kids. The only thing that's going to differ from county to county, and I'm coming to you, will be your resources. Resources may be different, but it's not about resources. It's about kids. Because if you love them, if you care for them, they'll give you anything that you need. Anything. They'll tell you life's secrets because they trust you. They care for you. Okay. Yes, sir.
You talked about professionalism,
Yes.
and I guess my question is, where do you draw the line between a teacher that is really has a certain relationship with their students, you know, very lively, not more so, I mean, I'd expect it to be friendly, like you know, these kids, they're your kids.
Yes.
You know, to a certain extent, you are their friend, but you're also their educator, you're also a leader to them. So I guess my question is, you know, if you're establishing that type of relationship with your students, you want them to, you know, you want to be on that relatable type of level with these kids, where do you draw the line between that relationship but also keeping a sense of professionalism? You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So if I'm going into a school my first year, second year, should I, you know, play it cool and, you know, follow this certain professional guidelines and just, or do I have a little bit of freedom to kind of, you know what I'm saying, establish that relationship with the kids? Or should I be safe and, you know,
I do.
see what I'm saying?
Yes. Here's what I would tell you. First of all, I would, wherever you land a position, I would most definitely speak with that leader in that building to find out what his or her mission and vision is for the school. Because everybody's not going to be as jovial and relatable as you may be. So you will learn it as you go. You will have colleagues that will ask you, why are you so happy? Why do you ask me that kind of question? You know? So you have, my best answer would be, one, meet with the administrator to find out what is the vision and the mission of the school. What is your purpose? I believe that my teachers, and Dr. Villa could attest to this, I have to be the first example in the building. Okay? I have to be the first example. In my attitude, in my dress, in how I relate to parents, and all. But what you're going to learn is a light switch. You have to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. Because I can discipline children, and at the same time, at the very end, let them know how much I love them. I know how to be very playful, but they know very quickly, I do not yell. Guess what I do? You know what I do? Isn't that uncomfortable? You stand there and you stare at a person. After a while, they get the picture. Okay? So it's a light switch. You turn it on and you turn it off. Literally, I stand every day. I greet my children every single day in the middle of the hallway when they first come to school. And then the administrators, we do bus dismissal. We're outside to see them go home. And I'm high-fiving, I'm hugging, I'm getting all up in, I saw I didn't know what you just passed, sir. What kind of music you listening to? And I'll take their earphones and I'll listen to it. That is so wrong. I don't crucify them. I can relate to them. But you know how to turn it on. They know Miss Holman serious. Let me go quiet. Or if I go quiet, the whole school's wondering what in the world has rocked his boat. That type of thing. Okay? So you're going to learn it as you go. Meet with your administrator, see what his or her vision, mission is for the school. How do they feel about relationships with children?
Because I feel like that's very important.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I don't want to come off as being unprofessional or lacking that, leadership quality, or I want them to know that it's like, hey, I'm still here as a leader, as a guide, but I'm also here for you.
Absolutely. When in doubt, always ask. Don't ever assume. Always ask. And there's nothing wrong with asking. I get on the phone and I'll call a principal in a heartbeat, or I'll call my supervisor. I just need a point of clarity. Or what advice do you have on this situation? Good question. But don't allow someone's opinion of you to become your reality. Be you. I'm going to love my kids. I'm going to hug my kids. I'm going to let them know how much I appreciate them. And I tell their parents. Good question. Anybody else? You may ready to change your mind.
I have a question.
Okay.
When did you know that, okay, let me get this out, because it's going to sound bad at first, but when did you know that teaching or educating was what you were meant to do? Because I sit through awful boring math classes and I still love it and can't wait and I'm so excited, but like when I'm like at work and teachers who are teaching now are like, don't do it, run away, it's kind of disheartening. So am I going to be jaded when I get in the classroom and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this, but now it's not. Do you see what
I do. I was a fourth grade when I knew. And I knew it was my fourth grade teacher. And right to this day, she's a great mentor of mine. It was just the way that she did things that I absolutely loved. But then I also knew from my spiritual walk, this was my call. Okay? And so because of that, and I'm glad you said that, you're going to have individuals, and I said that earlier, they're not in it for the right reason. And you may not get a lot of principals tell you that, but once again, she'll tell you, I'm very honest. When that does happen, you have to be bold enough to stand firm on what you believe. And everybody's not going to believe what you believe. My wife had to teach me that. She says, honey, everybody's not going to be as sold out to education like you are. That's a hard pill to swallow. But I had to swallow it. So you have to decide, am I going to allow someone's negativity to be impactful to me? And as long as you know you have this invisible hula hoop space, don't ever let anyone step in who shouldn't be. And if you do that, you'll stay in a lifetime. I look forward to staying in education years and years and years. I have more aspirations. And I will do it because I'm that determined. And there's some great teachers out there, and there's some that are just, that's what you want to do. That's just true. But don't be discouraged. You're in a noble profession. We're the foundation to everything that exists. And you're going to make a difference. You will make a difference. Okay? When I was student teaching some 17 years ago, 5th grade, never shall forget this child's name, Alex. He wrote, all the kids wrote notes. You know how they do their student teachers. They write them notes. So Alex wrote me a note. Ms. Harris, here's what he said. Ms. Maddox, he said, Mr. Holman, I did not like you. But then guess what his next sentence was? But I learned so much from you. He was honest. You know? He was great. Okay. Anything else? Because I can talk all day. This is just my element. Yes?
I just, speaking on behalf of the class, when they're applying for a job, I think they might like to know to what extent principals discuss things with each other.
Okay? That is great. That's a great one. Here's the realization. People will talk. And we will send emails. Have you all had any great applicants that have come your way? Because you may have been someone's second choice. Okay? But then they're very quick. We're very quick to say, whatever you do, steer clear of this one. Because here's the thing. We have to make sure children are being educated by the absolute best. And I, for one, am not going to be a principal who I had an applicant who was horrible and try to tell that person, another principal, oh, it'd be great. That's a lie. You know, so there are some that are honest, and we'll share that information. Okay? So you have to make sure that, yes, as we're a PLC community, that's the whole premises of education. You're talking and communicating and collaborating with everybody on everything. When my teacher walked in and said, I'm through, she was on maternity leave, I immediately got an email, hey, have any of you all had some great student teachers that just finished that are looking for a job? You know? That's the very first thing. Because a colleague friend of mine may have had someone right there who was good and need a job. That's why I take residency 1 and residency 2. Not every school does it. But I take them. And guess what? I've hired 3. In my building, 2 in my building as of today.
And I'd like to say that same thing happens with us, because I've had several principals approach me about students, and if I wouldn't give a good recommendation, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I want to be honest about that.
You have to be. And we do talk. We do. And we're looking for good quality, good sound individuals that want to teach and love kids, who love kids first.
That's why I have another question. On behalf of the class. Talk to us for a minute about the team evaluation and what they're going to go through in the first year.
Okay. Through the team model, and make sure that you're well versed in it, you are going to be evaluated numerous times throughout the course of the year, both formal and informal. You want to be the type of teacher that unannounced observations do not bother you. Because here's the thing. If you do your job every single day, regardless of who's sitting in your room watching you teach,